Hello everyone, my name's Fox. This is going to be my review on the 8bitdo M30 Bluetooth Gamepad. Thank you very much to Banggood for sending this out to me for review. It is their 13th anniversary. Head on down to the link below to take a look at this particular item. Also, they're having sales on a lot of different items, so feel free to take a look at them. What I do like about the 8bitdo company is they make some really quality stuff. So if you looked at my previous review, I've looked at their SNES gamepad before, and this thing is just super solid, especially if you're looking for a Switch controller. This device will also work with the Switch, and it'll be the first thing that we take a look at. And when you look at the styling of this, we can see that it is D-pad centric. With the SNES pads, you have those analog sticks as well that have L3 and R3 clickable. However, if you were looking for something that was D-pad dominant with 6 face buttons, this is very fighter-esque. So if you're looking for a fighting pad that was Bluetooth capable, that was solid, this I can very much guarantee, with one small caveat with regard to how it plays on PC. And we'll get into that later on in the review, but we're going to take a look quickly at how this will play on the Switch. But before we get to that, let's just go ahead and take a look at the unboxing and how it is presented. And it's pretty straightforward. It's going to come together like this. This part is loose, so it'll just come out like that. And here is the controller. Let's go ahead and take a look at the controller. Now this is, again, it's the same as their SNES pad. So if you were looking for, literally with these two controllers, you can span a wide range of excellent controllers for emulator use. These are fantastic. We're going to be taking a look at this pairing to an Android controller as well, and we'll take a look at Android native games just working directly with this D-pad. However, what's really nice that I was thinking about, and I forgot that they did on the Super Nintendo one, is the very quick instructions to switch the mode on the back, which is super important. Just so that you don't have to have the manual to kind of remember what you need to do to enter into different modes to pair to different types of systems. Super convenient, and we can see here that we have the star. So we have start and select, and then what is the home button, and then the screenshot button on the Switch. But it is a pretty standard thing. We do have a USB-C connector for charging this device. Here's the little pair button. We're going to see different types of charging from here. Down here are the LEDs to kind of indicate, especially for the Switch, what controller port number you're on, so what type of player you number, player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, as well as some other different diagnostics and stuff as we go through here that it's going to be, you're going to hit up the manual a little bit more. But overall, the feel of this controller is really awesome, and we're going to kind of demonstrate how well it actually works. Here is a very simple manual. They are pretty straightforward. And one thing that I want to kind of point out here for the Switch, and I don't know if we can see it here. This is the same power saving. It doesn't look like it's said here in the Switch portion. This part is important, this pair for 2 seconds. This is more important for Switch. It never really seemed to be that important for Android or Windows. We can just do the first part before it picks up. We're not showing it in here, but I'll show it to you inside the game just so that it's more apparent to you. Here we have USB-A to USB-C so that you can charge it. There is no charging plug, it's just the cable itself. So we'll go ahead and put this stuff away. We'll have the controller on the side. Give me a second and I'll set up the Switch. All right, so the Switch is set up, so we'll go ahead and do Y, right? It's Y plus start. Yes, it is. So we'll do Y and start and hold it, and we'll see that this will turn on. And you can see, there we go. It's really hard to see this little LED with all my other lights going on, but it's right there. And we can see that we have already paired. Now, that's because I've already gone ahead and paired this device to the Switch. Now, the only thing that you need to know is when you're going ahead and doing this, you're just going to go into controllers. And you're going to do pair new controller. And when you go into here, this is the part where you want to hold down this pair button right here for 2 seconds to initiate the actual pairing. For Windows and Android and anything else, I assume, you will only really need to... I've already been playing Street Fighter here. So we'll kind of just demo this without it being super blazing loud. I'm gonna get blasted. Okay, so now really quick, let's just go ahead and show you some buttons. So you can see right here that this is actually medium. These are the medium attacks when they should be low. Look, so even like when it's easier to see right here that I'm pressing the middle button, and you can see his little knee, Ryu's little knee coming out. So this is low kick. Now what you have to do, which they have already included in the firmware, what you want to do is you want to hold select and down for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe it's select and down, or it's going to be start and down. One or the other, but let's hold on. Let's get past this. Now these are going to be swapped. Let's see. Yep. So it's swapped. So you can see now I'm pressing A, and you can see that now these buttons are actually correct. So this is low punch, medium punch, high punch. And that was just included in the firmware. There's nothing else that you need to do. It's a super awesome controller. This is obviously something that if you were interested in just for like a fighting gamepad that can span other different types of platforms, and just being mindful that you know that it's going to work very easily with the Switch and being able to switch these two columns of keys over, it's actually really nice. Okay, so that was pretty quick and pretty easy kind of demonstration, but let's go ahead and take a look at how it works with Android, and especially Android native games, so that we're not trying to remap keys, and how well it works just going over there. So give me a second while I set that up. Alright, so this is Evoland 2, the Android build. This is was pretty cheap, available on the Android Play Store. Really do recommend app sales for just keeping track of that. So we can take a look and see that for what we're going to use is this D input mode for Android. So that is B and power. So we're going to go hold B and power. We're going to wait for that to appear. And we can see that we're already connected. If I can block this light, you can see the light is illuminated right here. It's a little bit difficult, but you can see that automatically I've already gone ahead and paired here. So we'll go ahead and click to continue, because I was playing for a little bit while I was setting this up and making sure all the controls are all set up. And you can see that it just works. So if you wanted something that, you know what, let me go ahead and turn down these LEDs a little bit, because it's a little bit overpowering. So if you were looking for something that can connect to other Android, maybe an Android set-top box that you wanted to play native PC games on, obviously Evoland 2 is out for PC as well, but if you have this for Android and you wanted to play the Android native version, this game does support native gamepad stuff, as well as other Android games that support native gamepad input. Android has supported gamepad input since Android 2.3, so it's been quite a while since they've just supported just general gamepad stuff. But yeah, this works no problem. And works as advertised. I mean, it was super easy to set up. You don't have to hold this pairing button like you do for the Switch. You literally just switch to the mode. And as you've been seeing, I'm not doing something crazy. I'm literally switching the modes. Well, so when I switch from Switch and then went to Android and put into D input mode, I'm switching all over. What's nice is X input mode is just X and start, so that's pretty simple. And more to the point, we'll get to the one caveat where I am not super satisfied with this device, and that's with even in D input mode, and that's how it connects and shows stuff. More to the point, give me 1 second. I have the manual on my phone that shows a little bit more. Alrighty, so here is the manual part that you can get from online, which is different from what is included in here, and specifically with it, how it relates to mapping for X and D input mode. You can see right here that the C button maps to R1. And the problem with that is that it is not being mapped as a digital input. It's being mapped as an analog input, which is kind of weird. And we'll kind of show that in the Windows portion of it. Give me 1 second while I set that up. All right, here we are with the Windows portion of things set up, and you can see that I've paired the 8bitdo M30 gamepad previously, however, it's not connected. So we're going to go ahead and hold X and start and wait for this to go. Might be paired to my phone still. So what you're going to do in this particular instance is you're going to hold start, and this will turn off. There we go, you just saw it turn off. So now that's turned off. So I'm going to go hold X and hold start. And now you can see that that's blinking, and we've connected here. So we're changing modes, and it automatically connects. So the Bluetooth portion of this is super solid, ridiculously solid. And so if you wanted a lot of different devices to be swapping this controller over to, it does work. Alright, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the actual properties of this gamepad, and we can see the one portion of this that bothers me a bit. So if we take a look right here on the Z-axis, what is happening here is that the C button is actually an analog input as far as X input and D input care. Additionally, the right trigger is an analog input. So basically these two are both on the Z-axis, the right trigger and the C button. Now the problem with this is that there are some instances where, like say a different emulator that I was using didn't really like that this was an analog input and just didn't want to register as this as a mappable input. So what I have to do to get around that is I have to use a tool called anti-micro. It's really any type of controller padder that you have, gamepad or whatever. This will go ahead and map these controls. So you can see A, B, C. I have all of these mapped, and what's a little bit kind of more straightforward is if we go ahead and we just go open up Notepad. Now, if we go in here, you can see A, B, C. If I can click in here, A, B, is it working? Is anti-micro working? Is my controller? Yeah, it is. Give me 1 second to make sure I verify that everything. Silly me, I closed anti-micro instead of minimizing it. So now, if I do A, B, and C, you can see A, B, C comes up right over there, X, Y, Z. So I am converting these keys, and especially these two keys, to keyboard keys. And what I've done to that is I've now used the keyboard keys themselves within the emulator, so now that I can actually use this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open up a Genesis game and see how that works. Alrighty, so this is Crusader Ascenti, which is a Zelda-like that not many people know about. So we'll go ahead and start this. And now all of these controls, give me a second while I skip this intro part. Alright, past that intro. And then you can see now now obviously I don't have anything mapped to there, but we can be sure. I have to talk to everyone. What do I have to do? Easy peasy. And there we are. So now we have something that is reminiscent of actually playing a Genesis game with a Genesis type of controller. Obviously this is more Sega Saturn, but it still has the design markers of the original Mega Drive controller, the original Genesis. It's a little bit elongated here, but overall this is a super good version of it. Again, 8bitdo makes some solid stuff. I do know that there are firmware updates for this. I'm going to actually write to them if they haven't already fixed this part. If that part, if this is acting as an analog type of input for you, obviously you can get around that with having something on there. Ideally, it would just operate as a digital input. There's no reason for these two buttons to be operating as analog inputs at all. They are digital only. So if it's not already fixed in future firmwares, I am going to write to them and see if they can fix it, because there are firmware updates that they do put out and you can update these. It's a minor nuisance right now. I have to imagine that they will fix it because it seems kind of odd to me. I'm not too really sure why it works that way. For the Switch, it works perfect. D input wise, the control wise, it is a super solid controller. It is $30 at Banggood right now. Again, you can take a look in the description field to take a look at it. If you are in the market for something like trying to get an authentic old Super Nintendo controller or a Genesis controller, I seriously cannot recommend these controllers enough. They feel authentic. They are legit as they come. They feel great, they work great. Obviously, I just showed you pairing to a bunch of different modes with minimal fuss. I really can't speak well enough of these devices. Obviously, the only thing that I can complain about is this analog input thing that we can circumvent, obviously. So that's it. I can totally recommend that. Like, there's very few reservations that I have with these. Honestly, unless you were being a stickler and wanted something super authentic and needed something that would convert to USB, These are way more convenient. Battery life is fantastic. It takes like an hour to charge. I believe they say it has like 16 hours of actual use. Obviously, these devices aren't going to last as long as these controllers will. Again, big fan of them. I cannot recommend them enough. I have zero problem recommending them. I know that you're going to have a great time with them. Sometimes I make reservations with them because, you know, things can be subjective. But like even when you saw on the Switch thing with me using this for, you know, just banging out special moves, it is ridiculously easy and a nice controller. I have nothing bad to say about it. That's it. Again, if you're interested, $30 on Banggood. You can find the link in the description field below. As always, guys, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.